Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum students. Students, in the previous video we have learned about the quadrilaterals and three types of quadrilateral. A quadrilateral is a closed plane figure that has four sides, four vertices and four interior angles. And the sum of the interior angles of a quadrilateral is equal to 360 degrees, right? In the previous video we have discussed the basic three quadrilaterals: rectangle, square and parallelogram. In this video we will discuss the next three quadrilaterals: rhombus, trapezium and a kite. Open your books at page number 270 for better understanding. Students, a rhombus. Some properties are similar with a square. And what is that? In a rhombus we have four equal sides. In a square we have four equal sides. In a rhombus we have two pairs of parallel sides. In a square we have two pairs of parallel sides, right? But the difference is, in a square we have four right angles. In a square we have four right angles, but in a rhombus we don't have right angles. You can see its sides are lean. We have lean sides in a rhombus, so this is the difference. In a square we have straight sides, because of that we have all four right angles, and in a rhombus we have lean sides, and because of that we don't have right angles, right? So let's discuss the properties of a rhombus. In a rhombus, you can see with these arrows we have two pairs. One, AB is parallel to CD, because we have same distance from each point. So side AB is parallel to CD, so we have one pair, and the other pair is BC is parallel to DA. Because we have the distance equal from each point, so BC is parallel to DA. So we have two pairs of parallel sides, right? So first property of a rhombus, we have four pairs of parallel sides, right? The next property, all four sides are of the same length. The same property like a square, all four sides are of the same length, right? The next property, the difference, and basically the difference, in a square you have all four right angles, but in a rhombus opposite angles are equal. Opposite angles, as I have told you earlier, opposite angles are the angles that is marked on the opposite vertices A and C. A and C are the opposite angles. B and D are the opposite angles, right? So the opposite angles are equal. So the angles marked on A and C vertex, these are the opposite angles, and the angles that are marked on vertices B and D, these two are the opposite angles, and these angles are equal in length, right? The next property is about the diagonals. As we have discussed earlier, that diagonal is a line segment that will join your opposite vertices, right? So one diagonal is AC and the other diagonal is BD. Now let's see the property of the diagonals. Diagonals bisect each other at right angles. Diagonals bisect each other at right angle. This is the same property like a square. In a square we have learned that the diagonals bisect each other at right angles. The property is same like a square. Diagonals bisect each other at right angles, right? And diagonals bisect the interior angles. Same like a square, diagonals bisect the interior angles. Diagonals bisect the interior angles means the diagonal will divide the interior angle into two equal parts, right? So most of the properties are same like a square, as we have two pairs of parallel sides in both, we have four equal sides in both, we have Diagonals bisection, same in both. Diagonals bisect each other at right angles, and diagonals bisect interior angles, right? The difference between a square and a rhombus is, in a square you have 4 right angles, but in a rhombus we don't have right angles. In this, the property is opposite angles are equal, right? Hope you have understood the properties of a rhombus. Now let's discuss the next type of quadrilateral, that is a trapezium. In a trapezium, we have only one pair of parallel sides. As you can see, the distance between AB and CD, it's same from each point, but the distance between AB and CD, right? Sorry, the distance between AD and BC, the distance between DA and BC is not same. Why? Because you can see the side AB is longer than the side CD. The distance is decreasing. The distance is decreasing. That's why we have only one pair of parallel sides, that is AB is parallel to CD, right? And BC is not parallel to AD because the distance is decreasing. On this point you have distance greater than this one, and maybe on some point if we'll extend these two sides will meet each other. So if the two sides meet each other, these two are not the parallel sides. The condition for the parallel sides is the distance will remain same from each point, right? So we have only one pair of parallel sides in a trapezium, right? We have a no equal side concept in this trapezium. We have no specific rule for the interior angles and for the diagonals of this trapezium. They vary according to the shapes, right? We have no specific rule like we have in the other quadrilaterals, right? So the property that is fixed for a trapezium, we have only one pair of parallel sides. The rest of the properties according to the equal sides, interior angles or diagonals, these are not fixed for a trapezium. They will vary according to the shape, right? Okay. Next and the last one quadrilateral included in our syllabus is a kite. Again, you can see a kite has 4 sides, and you can see these marks. Can you see these marks? These 2 marks shows that these 2 sides are equal, and these 2 double marks shows that these 2 sides are equal. So the basic difference between a kite and a rhombus, sometimes a rhombus shape is like a kite, but how you will judge that? In a rhombus we have 4 equal sides, but in a kite the top 2 sides are equal and the bottom 2 sides are equal. These bottom 2 sides are longer than the top 2 sides, right? Okay, now let's discuss the properties. The opposite sides may be parallel. The opposite sides may be parallel. It's not fixed. They may be parallel or they may not be, right? So the opposite sides, this and this, these two may be parallel or they may not, right? So this is not the fix that we have any pair of parallel sides. In a kite you may have parallel sides. It's not a fixed rule that we will have parallel sides, right? The next property, there are 2 pairs of equal adjacent sides. Equal adjacent sides. Adjacent sides are the sides that will share one common point, that one common vertex, right? So CD and DA, these two are the equal sides. CD and DA, these two are the equal sides, so we have one pair. Then AB and BC, these two are the adjacent equal sides, and this is the second pair. So we have 2 pairs of parallel two pairs of equal adjacent sides, right? We have no specific rule for the interior angles. You can see the diagonal that is joining your opposite vertices A and C. So first diagonal, B and D, the second diagonal. These two diagonals are bisecting each other and at a right angle, right? So the property of the diagonals is diagonals cut each other, not bisect. Diagonals cut each other at right angles. You can see the top part of this diagonal is smaller than the bottom one, right? This one is the longer one, and this one is the this one is the shorter one side, and this one is the longer one. So the diagonals cut each other at right angles. They does not bisect each other. Diagonals cut each other at right angles. They will not bisect each other. And one diagonal bisect the interior angles. One diagonal will bisect the interior angles, and that is this longer one, this one that is joining your B and D vertices. This diagonal will bisect these two interior angles into two equal parts, right? So the part ADB and the part CDB, these two angles are equal, right? And ABD and CBD, these two parts would be equal, right? So the diagonal, the longer one diagonal that is joining your opposite vertices, this will bisect these two, 1 and 2 interior angles into two equal parts. Hope you have understood the properties of the diagonals. In the next video, we will learn how to solve the sums relating to the quadrilaterals, right? And how we can find out the unknown angles. I will solve some examples for you, and then I'll assign an assignment for you in the next week. Thank you. Take care. Allah Hafiz.